Okay, all right. Let me do this right quick. Let me do it right quickly. All right. You know, the gospel is not about you being rich or being naturally wealthy. The gospel is not about that. Now, God do bless, but that's not what the gospel is about. The gospel is about one thing: to have your soul saved, to be saved when Jesus come back, to stand before God in judgment, holy and righteous and justified, to make you righteous. That's what the gospel is for. Now, let me do this. I heard a preacher saying, and I don't believe he meant no harm. I really don't. But anyway, let me do it anyway to open up some of your blinded eyes. Some of you in error. The God in the Isaiah, it also speaks about Jesus coming to preach the gospel. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. Another verse say, the poor have the gospel preached unto them. What is that talking? That's not talking about Jesus coming that you may be a multimillionaire and that money come to you and that you attract money and that you be wealthy and have houses and land and overflow. That's not what that's talking about. The poor have the gospel preached to them. In comparison to what happened to the poor in Israel before Jesus came with the leaders of Israel. What happened to the poor? They were downtrodden. They did not get judgment because they didn't have money. They had no one to plead their case. Judgment was subverted for the poor. Corruption on the poor. The poor was oppressed. The poor were depressed. The poor were treated like dogs. Oppressed the poor, the widows. But Jesus came. He didn't do like the leaders in Israel. He didn't do like those false prophets back there in Israel. But he came to save the poor. I don't care if you ain't got no money. Jesus saves. Jesus is for you. Jesus will help you. That's what the gospel to the poor is talking about. The people in Israel, they didn't do nothing to no poor, but treated them wrong and took bribes and subverted judgment against the poor and walked on the poor and downtrodden the poor and oppressed the poor. But Jesus coming is not going to do that. I'm going to preach the gospel to the poor. All right. Poor, your heart being rich towards God. Your heart being rich towards God. All right. That's enough of that.